Oh gosh, the hardcore audience is back. All right, how's it everyone? My name is Len. It's a hard audience tonight. So you're not a Scottish audience, are you?
We were waiting for an alcoholic.
All right. I am not an alcoholic yet. Alrighty, so I'm from a company called Cloud Africa. I don't have a great bio page like Rory had, but I think some of you know me. Okay, so yeah, thanks for the intro on Docker Compose, because it's going to come in handy. I won't have to explain it. All right, how many of you guys know what Rancher is? One or two. Who's used Rancher before? Our guest from Switzerland. Okay, so all right, so that's cool because this is very entry level, and please stop, ask questions, shout. There's a very rough presentation. It's more of a demo kind of thing, and hopefully you'll understand what it is by the end. Okay, so the whole aim of Rancher is to make kind of running your actual containers easy. So what you saw Rory doing was great. That's on your dev workstation. You got a whole lot of stuff. That's awesome. But now at some point it has to escape out into production, right? And, you know, if you're in one of these enterprise situations, you send an email to the ops department and you wait for 3 weeks, right? And they come back and they're like, we really have no idea, like, how to kind of get this thing standing up in production and how to look after it and how to manage it. So, you know, just get the credit card from your boss and go to AWS or Google and do something over there, right? And then, of course, everybody freaks out when you get the bill at the end of the month. And Rancher is this kind of middle ground. You've got a bunch of machines your own. You've got an ops department. How can you make use of it to run your cool reactive Angular apps and whatever else you've got going? So their whole aim is to make this whole experience like super easy. In fact, it might be too easy, you know, like you might have to fire that ops department. But anyway, so Rancher comes as this complete set of containers. You can put Kubernetes inside it. We can talk about that just now. It actually has a kind of packaged Kubernetes version, which they version control for you, so you don't have to worry about living on the bleeding edge and worrying about all that kind of stuff. But it will manage and orchestrate all sorts of workloads for you. So who's ever played with Mesos before? Oh, DCOS, any of these kind of things? You're all so young, man. All right. It also comes with a whole catalog of applications, which we'll jump into in a minute. So one of the super interesting things about Rancher itself is that it's a Docker container. So it kind of splits your Docker containers, like Rory was showing earlier, into two parts, what they call infrastructure containers, which are the containers that are going to manage the environment for you. And then, of course, there's your user containers, your application containers. We use it, and we have our own hardware, so it's quite nice. We can run up new VMs, and we can add nodes to your cluster as you want. So it's quite nice for your ops guys who don't know how to run this stuff. They can use Rancher to put Docker onto your own infrastructure, which is quite cool. And by default, Rancher has its own scheduler. You guys know what a scheduler is in the sense of Kubernetes? And yes? No? Everybody's okay with a scheduler? Okay, trick question. What does a scheduler do? It's of course got nothing to do with a calendar, right? You're all very clear on that. Okay. All right, so how do you get Rancher running? It's super simple, right? You grab a Linux box. Any old Linux boxes will do. We don't care because we're in the Docker world now. We'll get another Linux anyway. And you literally run that command at the bottom. That's all you need to start off running Rancher. So it's quite cool. That starts the Rancher server. That's the main sort of control or master node. So we usually run that in about a 1 gig VM somewhere. And that's the node that's going to keep track of like what's going on and provide the API gateway out. You then add hosts for Rancher to manage. So you say, cool, I got these other VMs. And what's super interesting is those other VMs can be anywhere. They could be in AWS, DigitalOcean, Cloud Africa, and you can just add them all to this infrastructure. Rancher itself will set up an IPsec network overlay across all these hosts for control of communications, and then present that whole thing to you as a cluster, which you can then use and scale. And if you don't need those AWS nodes anymore, you can just drop them, come back to your own hardware, maybe use a DigitalOcean node later on if you need, or 50, depending on how successful your online business is. All right, so let's go and have a look at some things. All right, so this is what you see after running that one Docker command. Okay, you get this pretty cool UI. So I'm just going to go into the infrastructure section here. Can you guys see that, or is that better? No. White was better, huh?
Can you zoom in a bit? Yep.
How's that?
Yeah, like that.
All right, so we're going to go and look at the hosts. So I've already registered 2 hosts with this thing. So I'm just going to go and register a 3rd host, and we can watch it come up. All right. That is not a good sound to come from a laptop, right?
That's not the host, is it?
We shall be back in a few minutes, guys. Whew. So, anybody know any good jokes?
I have a couple.
You do? Well. Wow.
Called a shoe made from a banana.
What do you call a shoe made from a banana?
A slipper.
All right. Do you have a lot of young kids?
Yeah.
All right. He's got to stop telling those jokes, man. Yes.
So in your command, right, there was a section where it says restart unless.
Stopped, yes.
Does that mean it's going to restart automatically since it was not stopped?
Yes, that should still be running. That's all running out in Cloud Africa. Okay, that stuff. So, but what it means is if your Docker container crashes, Docker itself will restart it. Okay. There's like a bazillion Docker command line flags. So I don't know. Who knows them all? Like no one does because they keep adding them. But it's quite a nice one. So, you know, if your Java application decides to blow up somewhere, then it'll just restart. We tend to rely on things like Kubernetes to do that for us, but it is baked into Docker itself. Okay, uno momento, let me get all this stuff back. Woohoo! Everything. How do I get it to do everything?
Oops, shit. Okay, just click on that thing, let it do its thing.
If we hear that beeping again, it's over.
Run.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff.
Alrighty. Okay, can you see this screen? Don't know why. Ah, there we go. All right, so I'm on a new Linux box. It's a Debian box, and it's got Docker installed on it. And I'm just going to run the registration process. So now if I go to the infrastructure, I should see that node appear. Wow, okay. So Rancher sees the new node, says, great, I got you, and starts dispatching a whole lot of work to that new node. Says, could you please start like installing network drivers, IPsec drivers. So that little Rancher agent's like tip of the iceberg. And just as you get Kubernetes running, you get all sorts of stuff running on that node. Okay, any questions so far? Everybody kind of with me what we're doing here?
Well, should you have to like configure a whole bunch of stuff to create this?
No. I literally ran that first Docker command.
Which was pretty long.
Yeah, I guess. I ran that. So on the first node. That's the node we're looking at in the web browser. Then I said, cool. I want to add a node. I went to Rancher's thing. I said, let's go and add a host. Okay, so what's kind of cool here is I can pull in any kind of host I want. All right, let's go DigitalOcean, blah, blah. You add your tokens, whatever. I said I want a custom one. In version 2, which is in like early beta right now, all you need is SSH access to that remote host. And Rancher will take care of the rest. Like installing Docker and everything. It's quite cool. So you go along, you can add kind of labels. I'll talk about labels later. But then you can just literally grab the command and paste it into that target host. Okay. All right, so voila, I've now got 3 nodes and I could scale that up as I wanted.
Is there a way to make like a bunch of hosts instead of using one at a time? Like say you've got a list of...
Yeah. There's an entire API to all of this that you're looking at. We're doing entry level, which is pictures. You know, and some people learn in pictures, some people learn in typing stuff. So, but yes, there's a whole API for that. And if you connect it to auto-scaling groups in some cloud, like you can go quite far. Alrighty. So what's nice here is, I mean, this is perfect for the ops guys. You can go into a particular host now and have a look at what's actually going on that host. Like what are all the Docker containers on that node? You can see there's quite a lot of stuff that's already started up. I can get performance metrics around the whole host, around each individual Docker container on that host. So, you know, if those ops guys in your environment say it's going to take 3 weeks, and go, just send them the link to rancher.com. Okay, like you don't need to mess around. I mean, I've literally deployed this now, like while you were watching me. So if Len can do it, you can do it. All right. Yeah, so it picks up all the stuff around the host. It's pretty nice, right? You can take these hosts out of circulation if you need to do upgrades as well. And depending on the scheduler that's running, your application should survive, right? Should. Okay. What else have I got here? So what's super nice also with Rancher is that it doesn't take over. You can run Rancher next to, you say you've already got a host running some Docker stuff. It's just another Docker container. You can add it in, right? It's not going to take over and change your whole world. You can even go back to your host and say, you know, run your own like Docker instances, and those will appear in the Rancher dashboard. Okay, so Rancher's fully aware, hey, there might be other things going on. I'm not the only one. So it's a kind of very gentle adoption curve. You can just add it in, immediately get visibility onto what's running on that host, and then start managing it. I can now go, see what hardcore leaky did. Well, it's not running anymore. I guess I could run it again if I wanted to, and it died straight away. Yes.
So it also manage the host that it is on itself.
I beg your pardon?
Will it also be able to manage the host that it is on itself?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, when you deploy it initially, like I say, I've got the control node running in a 1 gig VM, and it doesn't have any other Docker containers, which is just this website, right? So if I stuff this thing up, it doesn't matter. I've been doing ops for a while, so like production traffic goes to its own machines, not the control plane. Like if you should. I think ideally, if you're deploying to production, your control plane should be able to die without affecting your applications, right? It's up to you. You can put it all into one big box. I think in Azure you can get 1.5 terabyte machines now. Go for it. Yeah, we're no longer interested in that container. We can delete it. And off we go. All right, everybody happy with that kind of idea, right? What do you guys think so far? Yeah, it's very, very simple. I really like it. And the kind of stuff, this is what we're looking at is version 1.6, and version 2.0 is like looking really nice. It's got loads of cool pie charts. It's got eye candy, man. All right, okay, so where are we next? All right, so that's the infrastructure side. So, oh yeah, we wanted a bit bigger there. Whoop. It's a little bit too big. All right, you can go through, if you've got custom storage drivers added to your world, you can manage them from here as well. You can manage secrets, certificates, and if you've got your own custom registry, anybody running their own custom registries? Do you know what a custom registry is? You should be, right? Because not everything is open source. Okay, so we're kind of going backwards. Let's go and have a look through the catalog. So the next kind of interesting thing that Rancher has is what it calls templates. And templates are how to go and set up like a whole bunch of stuff, right? Kind of like Docker Compose, but for infrastructure services. So instead of your apps, these are now, hey, I would really like to run Kubernetes. Okay, this is probably the easiest Kubernetes setup you've ever experienced, right? Because you go through this thing, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do it now. It takes a while to spin up all the 3 nodes and etcd starts, but it's pretty impressive to watch. Because you read this, what's it, Kubernetes the Hard Way by Al Kelsey Hightower, and then you're kind of like, okay, I need to book off a chunk of time, or you come to Rancher and press a button. You probably don't learn as much, you better know what Kubernetes is, and I guess that's a talk for another day. But there's a lot of stuff, like, if you want to run your storage off of NFS on premises, who is interested in running their own Docker stuff at all? I guess that's why you're here, right? 1 or 2 of you. The rest of you, go spend all your money in the cloud. Yeah, so was there a question? No. Cool. Yeah, if you know what you're doing, for example, and you're in your own data center, you can just use a flat layer 2 network. You don't need a whole IPsec overlay. So you want the best performance. You say, Rancher, it's okay. You don't have to do all of that. I know the subnets. I'll give them to you. I'll tell you what the addressing scheme is. You just use that. If you've got one of these super expensive net apps lying around, you could plug that in as your storage layer. You can kind of go crazy. Okay. There's also work. Or log out. All right, that's not very healthy. I ran this thing up this afternoon, so it hasn't had much like checking on it at all. Nope, it's not going to allow me to do that. Okay, so anyway, what I wanted to show you was that there's a GetLab template, which is pretty cool. So you can sort of one-click deploy GetLab. And one of the cool things that GetLab has and is a Docker registry. Okay, so it's kind of, what's that thing called, the Ouroboros? So you deploy GetLab inside Rancher, which hosts it's got its own build server built in, and it's a Git repository. So commit your code, it builds your Docker repositories, becomes the registry that you register back with Rancher, right? Which is quite cool. Yeah, I don't know why that's not working. Yeah. Alrighty. It just let's hope the next part works. So I mean, this is live. It's running out at Cloud Africa, and like I say, I've done very little to it, so there might be some things I forgot. Okay, so let's go and have a look at all the stacks that are currently running. So these are the things that have come with Rancher, which we might not be interested in actually dealing with, but it's kind of interesting to see what's going on inside it. These are all the IPsec drivers, etc., etc. At the moment, we don't have any user stacks, so let's go ahead and add one. There's a sample chat app that I'm going to try and run up. So I'm just going to go through this kind of manually through the UI, which is quite nice. And then we'll show how to do that through the command line interface. Okay. All right, so let's go and create a database. And we want that to be Mongo. Yay. There's a lot of customization that you can do. Sort of a lot of that stuff that Rory was talking about with the Docker Compose that's coming up. This is just a kind of UI on top of that. Okay, so that's going to go and activate, schedule those containers to be running somewhere in my nodes, which is quite cool. It's already started. It's much faster than I am. All right. I just need to get the name of this. Yeah, my laptop's dying, guys. You're at a momentous occasion here. That QuickTime recording's killing it, I think. Sorry. Any questions while we wait for it to come back, guys? Who's interested in this kind of stuff? Who thinks it would be useful? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's super useful.
Would this replace the Kubernetes, Jenkins, AWS style stuff? Or?
The only thing it would replace in that picture is AWS. But you could still use AWS for more nodes. It depends on your your cost profile, right? Like a lot of people have hardware that's sitting around, and it's not bad hardware, especially if you want a QA testing environment. You've got 10 machines sitting over there. The boss said, they're going to the cloud. You say, oh, that's great, but I still want a place where I can play, I can mess up, I can blow things up. I don't have to go through the ops team who's looking after production. This is a great, great answer for that, in my opinion.
Same space as, say, OpenShift.
Yeah, if you've got the willpower to get through OpenShift, right? You don't kind of go down there. It's like a T-junction, right? There's the easy way. I mean, this is just falling off a chair kind of easy, and then there's, learning a whole new thing. It's like, I'm sure you guys have learned all about networking from AWS, right? It's very tricky because they call everything something else.
a lot of initial configuration required for Rancher?
You need a Linux box. It's Docker on it, right? Yeah, that's literally all I did about 3 hours ago. Us Nelson. We've been pretty busy today. And the Docker run this server. That's why if it's crashing or whatever, like it's had this much attention put on it. Like that's how kind of easy it is. So you're in your corner at the office. You need like a test environment to run these kind of things. You haven't got the time Rory had to run through setting up Kubernetes. You run it up, press a button, you've got Kubernetes running in not just on your machine, but you can actually test your deployments out against it. Okay, so no more recording here. Alrighty, we're back. Okay, where was I? So we were starting this chat app, right? Yeah, forget that.
You were copying and pasting from your...
Yeah, no, my machine is dying. I don't know. Sorry, guys. This is it's a sad moment. We just need a moment of silence here. It's about 7 years old, this guy. Yeah. I don't know. We'll try one last time. Third time's a charm, right? So what I was going to show you is that you can run through the Rancher interface. You can set up the bits and pieces of your stack, which is quite nice. I can't think in YAML, right? I think YAML is just like a terrible plague that's invaded our industry, right? You know, tab, white space, delimited nonsense. But for some reason, like it's like the fashion, right? You know, and people are trying to do all sorts of like super weird things with YAML, which is just beyond me. So it's quite nice, especially when you're building up, to be able to go in and say, oh yeah, I need a Postgres server. Let me add one of those. Let me check that it's working. Let me add in my Angular app. Let me add in my Spring Boot, whatever else. You shut down your computer because of a problem. It's, whoa. Need some TLC. So you can build up your app inside Rancher through the GUI. And then what's super cool is you can export it as a Docker Compose file. Okay, you can say, oh, I kind of got that working, right? I got everything happening like I want it to happen. Export that as your YAML file, so you don't actually have to write YAML. So Rancher is like a very fancy YAML generator. It's totally cool, man. All right. Nothing's working today. All right. Let's try that one last time. Otherwise, I'm going to like just talk to you guys, right? It usually dies around here, right? Let's get out of notes. Okay, so this is the web app, and I want to run 2 of those containers, right? I think that's all I need. It's running up 2 of those. Boom, they're running. It's pretty cool, right? Oh, it's doing something. While that's sorting itself out, you can now, so Rancher has built-in load balancers, ingress, egress controllers, same as all that kind of stuff. I can go in and add in like whatever, load balancer 01, and I want that on port 80. and I can select which service I want to connect it to. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with that thing, but anyway. I can now, so if you see down at the bottom here, maybe not at the back, you can download the CLI directly from Rancher. These guys are just, I love them, man. They're just like, they've thought of everything, right? I was playing around earlier, and one of the nodes, I just had to reboot it. I was upgrading Debian or something, and it disappeared, and then it came back, and I thought, oh shit, like it's going to be weird, but it totally wasn't. The node just kind of rejoined, and I was like, that usually doesn't happen, right? You see, like something in this app's failing. I probably typed in the wrong thing somewhere, and it just keeps trying to start it, right? I don't know what's going on here. Unhealthy. Well, whatever. You can delete it, start another one. But anyway, so what I was showing you was down in the bottom, you've got the ability to download a CLI, which is a nice, lovely Go binary, so you don't need anything else. You just stick it somewhere in the path. You go and register it. You set up some config. Hello. Oh, there we go. Can you all read that? No, you can't. It's only screencasting Chrome. Ah. So modern, I tell you what. And, oh, wait.
Just need to stop casting. Yep.
Okay.
And then there, select source, desktop, and then multi-purpose. And cast. And then share. Good stuff.
Ha! So once you've configured the Rancher CLI, which is very simple, you get an API token and whatever, you can interact with Rancher in exactly the same way at the infrastructure level. So I can say, hey, what's happening on the hosts, what containers they've got, etc., etc. Or you can use it at the sort of application level, just like Rory was showing earlier. I've got a Docker Compose, and I've got a Rancher Compose. So let's just have a look. Whatever. I didn't write this. After I'd set up the app, I just went back to Rancher. I said, great, I need where's a chat app? Said, hey, can I just export that thing that I've set up now? I want to capture that and stick it back into source control, so that the automatic systems can use it. So it's quite a nice YAML editor, right? Because it really does things as you're working. And it's like working in Lisp. It's all live, right? Hey, the chat app's finally up.
Well, you killed the web that was dying.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. See.
Get to using the web, listen on an IP or a port number.
Yeah. Cool. So one of the things we haven't touched much is labels. So labels just a way to interact with the scheduler to say where you want things to go. This is version 2 of the Compose thing. And then next to it is the Rancher config. So if you kind of squint, the version 3 of Docker Compose is a sort of, I think it's a bad idea because it's merging operational stuff with definition of structural stuff. This is quite nice because this is now separating that out. This is saying, great, this is Docker Compose. However you want that stack to look, that's how it looks. This is how we deploy it. These are the port mappings. These are the scaling factors that I want. So you can see at the bottom here, you've got web scale 2. Do I want to start this on create? Do I want backup versions? So there's a whole lot of stuff that can go into the Rancher thing as well. If you've got Kubernetes, you'd have one kind of file, like, but that's all kind of cool. All right. We can then just run that up, right? Same as Rory did before. It's not as fast because it's real. It is really going. Oh, here we go. Here's my chat app starting up. So that's pretty cool. I'm super impressed with how reactive this UI is, just by the way. Did you see earlier I created a Docker image and Alt-Tab back, it was already there showing the correct status. So, well, there we go. Chat app is up. I think I need to be on my 1 second. Nobody photograph that screen. Hey. Yeah, I don't put that on. I'll have to change password. Hey. Voila. Okay. This Let's Chat app's quite cool. It's like a Slack for small teams kind of thing. It's got a fun app to play with. Yeah, there we go. Started. Pretty nice, right? And what's super nice now is, of course, in the Rancher world, is I can start to dig into, where are these containers running? What's happening with them? How's my actual infrastructure looking? What's the performance on particular hosts looking like? Are they running? Are they not? 200% CPU. It's probably not a good number. How's the network operating? And then dive down, into the container levels. Like which containers are running what. There we go. That's a bit easier to see. So the MyChat web app one looks like it's using quite a bit of, that'll be Node for you, right? Chowing all the memory. Cool. I think we're kind of at the end. Let me just check the slides. Maybe it was Keynote that was killing my laptop. No, I definitely think it was QuickTime. Huh. Yeah, I think we dealt with all of that. And we did that. And like I said, that's just the tip of the iceberg. But what I really like about it is just that ease of getting going with it. Kubernetes is a beast. It really is, sort of like, what's it, 12 containers is the sort of basic thing. It's kind of nice that it's coming with Docker now so that you don't have to deal with that. But at some point you have to, right? But once Docker doesn't really make production go away. Either you're going to pay somebody quite a lot of money to make production go away, or you're going to have to learn how it works and what goes on there. And I think Rancher is a really nice tool in the middle of it all that gives you access to the infrastructure side of it without being completely mental. A really nice UI. And so the version 2 UI, which is imminent now, is very, very good looking. Lots of nice graphs and funky stuff. And great CLI experience. Yeah, so you can add hosts from the CLI, manage applications very nicely. And to be able to manage many, many stacks as well, which is very cool. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm sure you did. Just having multiple stacks running is very nice, like test stacks. You can see what's going on in them, especially for the ops guys. This is something, if I was running ops, I'd want this kind of dashboard. That's great. That's your app. That's your problem as a developer. What's going on underneath all of that? How am I managing all these storage volumes and network overlays and all that kind of stuff?
Very clean.
Yeah, it's very clean. Yeah. Alrighty. Any questions, guys?
Maybe you could also mention environments.
Sorry, mention environment. Environments. Sure. Where do I find them? I don't know. No. So yeah, you can manage environments. I don't know.
Environments are basically namespaces for stacks, and they have separate hosts, so you could.
So like have a testing environment and a QA, yeah, okay. And then group all your resources under that. Okay, thank you. I like to present because I always learn something. It's what you don't understand if you're not presenting, right? Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Rancher.com, and the docs are great. There's a bunch of videos there. The guys are like super friendly and super helpful. I think I sent them an email. I got an answer like in 2 hours. So how do I do this? And can we call you? I was like, sure. Okay. And then it snowed in London, and then the guy couldn't make the call, so he phoned me to postpone. I was like, who are you guys? You're like, yeah, I mean, have you ever tried to phone somebody in AWS, right? Yeah. You have to pay them to be able to call them. Yeah, you can't. So this guy called me. I was like, wow, okay, that's pretty neat. So I'm just literally starting on this journey myself. So yeah, thanks for the environment things. Whoa. And it just looks great so far. And then the thing, but rancher.com is a great resource. A lot of videos, and they really seem to be working hard. Cool. Any other questions, guys? Cool. Thank you very much.